Well, Robert, Macy, are you guys ready?
I'm ready. Anytime
All
you are.
right, I'll get started then. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Public Health's virtual education series, Wazooki Wo'ehi, Family Conversations. I'm Renelle, public health nurse, joined by Jamie Decora, public health worker supervisor, who will help me moderate today's session. The goal of this series is to gather, learn, and share about Ho-Chunk culture, resources, services, and the connection to health. In public health, we focus on prevention, promotion, and protection of the health and well-being of our communities. Health and well-being are rooted in many aspects of our lives, from our physical body, our mental health, our spirit, the environment we live in, and much more. During these sessions, we will explore topics that can impact our health and well-being. Together, we will learn about tools and resources to improve our health and the health of our communities. Today, we're happy to be joined by Robert Mann from Healing to Wellness Court to share about the program and how they help our community. We ask that if you have the ability, please turn your video on so Robert can see your bright, shining faces. We will have about 45 minutes for the presentation, followed by a Q&A. Please use the chat function to enter any comments or questions for our presenter. Jamie and I will monitor the chat throughout the presentation and read the questions at the end. You can also raise your hand and come off of mute during the Q&A to ask any questions out loud. Any questions that we don't have time for, we'll email and have Robert respond back to the group. This session is recorded and will be posted on the Department of Health website, our Facebook page, and the Healing to Wellness Court website. Everyone, please welcome Robert Mann.
Thank you, Renelle. I'll do a little introduction about myself. I've been in the Healing to Wellness Court coordinator for, next spring will be 10 years. It's kind of unbelievable. Yeah, it's gone by so quickly, and I've learned quite a bit about the criminal side of things, the court, and all that. So that's basically what a Healing to Wellness Court is about. It's a criminal court. We're taking people that have criminal charges. But our main thing here is to help them with their substance use disorders. So my first slide here, yes, you can see it. Okay, that's what is the Healing and Wellness Court? That's what everybody, that's a question that I always get asked. It's simply not a tribal court that handles alcohol or substance use disorders. It's rather a component of the tribal justice system that incorporates and adapts the wellness court concept to meet specific substance abuse needs of each tribal community. Our Healing Wellness Court is a non-adversarial and case-based to healing, collaborative, and person-based. And it helps these misguided individuals get back on track and onto a healing to wellness journey. That's what our court is, what a Healing Wellness Court is. Okay, go to the next slide. This starts out, the main goal of any drug treatment court is treatment and versus incarceration. Person is arrested for a criminal act involving illegal drugs or alcohol. But then when they're there, their attorney usually gets in contact with me and or the case manager, and they send a referral in. Once we receive this referral, clinical assessment, screening, and compass assessment are completed just to give them an idea, diagnosed if they're high risk, high need. And we can't take a low or medium risk. It always has to be high risk, high need. We can't mix the two. That's just against evidence-based best practices. We try to just make sure they're always high-risk hiking. Usually they are. Okay, usually they go through the circuit court, and the circuit court is where they're arrested at in that county. They must be sentenced and court ordered to participate in our program. Or let's say they already could be incarcerated, and the Department of Corrections can do an alternative to revocation, ETR, that's what we call it. This revocation is something that the Department of Corrections can do to someone, and when they're revocated, they go immediately to prison. So that's what we try to do, is keep them from doing that. They can get help in our program. And sometimes the Department of Corrections or probation officer, they may submit a referral as well. So that helps out too. So that's what we try to do. Once they get all this done, all these are completed, we do a program orientation. This orientation, we explain all the rules and expectations of their program. And it's about a 16-page document. And we cover everything that is going to be they're going to go through in the time during our program. And then once they get that all done, we have our prosecutor and our defense attorney, myself, and the case manager. We all sit with that person doing this orientation. So that over the document signed, then the individual will begin the program. Next. Our program consists of 5 phases. Okay, the 5 phases are in order to graduate the program. Phase 1 is what we call as acute stabilization phase. Ho-chunk, we call it Wigus Choni. Wigus Choni kind of means like the first teaching. It's acute stabilization, short-term intensive care for individuals with mental or substance abuse. Mental health really does play a part in our court, because sometimes they can be diagnosed with certain mental health issues. Phase 2, phase 1 is 45 days. Okay, that's how the length of that program phase is. Usually, the phase 1 is never completed in 45 days. Usually, they have different things that come up, or they're not getting used to having a certain program that they have to follow, and that's where they kind of end up. It drags out sometimes. In some cases, it ends up to 60 days. Okay, then we move on to phase 2. Once they graduate from phase 1, they get a certificate of completion. They move to phase 2. And so Wigus Snoop. Wigus Snoop is the second teaching. Is called clinical stabilization. That's where they're to regain stable baseline before moving on to more in-depth treatment. That's basically what that phase is all about. Just once they kind of got used to the basics of the first phase, they move on, and they really start getting a lot more treatment of some of their issues. That is 90 days. 90 days there. They move to phase 3. And it's Wigus Dani, the third teaching, is pro-social stabilization, the process of strengthening, maintaining positive pro-social behaviors, which actions that benefit others, like cooperation, empathy, and help. And that's what that phase is. It's really good. That's what we really progressed a lot to reach that phase and start to move forward and make a lot of changes. This one is also 90 days. 90 days for that program. Then you end up going to phase 4. It's Wigus Job. It's the fourth teaching. Job is 4. Adopted habilitation refers to the services aimed at teaching, improving essential life skills that participants may lack due to long-term substance use or other factors. that's what this is. It's, they're getting these life skills, which really going to help them long term. If they start seeing where they've been doing and what they can do to change. A lot of the life skills that they've had, they don't have to teach them. So by the time they reach this stage, that's what really kind of really help them a bit. They're getting jobs, getting maybe school, whatever, even just a job. It's a big thing. Then they move on to, that's also 90 days. Then they move on to phase 5. We do Sacha's 5. And that's continuing care. It's ongoing treatment that follows initial treatment. This is where we start to prepare them for their graduation. This is where they've gotten all these, developed all these, supportive care. That's the big thing. And having that support system. Support system is really important. That's where they work with different programs and doing different things to help them outside the courthouse and outside within their everyday lives, is to develop that support system. Really important. So that's what we work with. When they come into this program, usually they don't have a driver's license. They don't have a vehicle. They haven't worked. And so those are a lot of things that we try to do. And I should have mentioned that too, like in the second phase, they kind of helping them work toward some of those goals to see about, getting a driver's license, getting a vehicle. And, but the big thing to help them support themselves financially is a job. A lot of them have really held a full-time job for a long time. So there's a lot of issues that we kind of find out in our initial entering our program. These are our goals. We do develop a treatment plan, following an overall assessment. This is where we really come to developing this the treatment provider to really show us, where this person's at, what stage, what level they're at. And like I mentioned, we create support systems and programs to foster employment, education, communal, familial, and individual health and well-being. That's important, like I said, it's a support system. And then we try to maintain relationships and resources to continue assist with program participation. Relationships too is another big thing too. They have, let's say, they have children. Sometimes they don't. They may have lost custody of their children. Separation from the mother, their children, whatever. So we try to work with them too. We also encourage them. They're not with someone. They're not associated with anybody. We try to let them know that not to enter into relationships while they're in the program. And then the last one we tried to do is to adhere to the cultural ideals and restore traditional values by focusing on restorative justice and decision making. This is really important because the cultural ideas and restore traditional values is really important to get them to understand where they belong, where they kind of you might have forgotten where they belong, how they're related. And like I mentioned earlier, when we were talking about family, how our tribal members are all related in one way or another. And so we try to let them know that, hey, this is how we're related. And that's one thing unique about our program is that we're all related. I'm related to all of them that come in here in one way or another. And that makes it difficult sometimes because sometimes I'm close related to someone, not directly, but close related to our Ho-Chunk kinship system. And so it does make my job difficult sometimes, because of that relationship.
We gotta try to figure out why it's not. They said it's not going.
Okay.
Jamie, is that better?
Yes, the screen changed now.
Okay. Is this the one we just did?
Yeah.
Can't see that. Still changing?
Yep.
You guys see this one? Okay, good. Okay, all right. We have what we call as our wellness court team. This team is supported by professionals from multiple disciplines. Individuals collaborate in a team setting to guide eligible participants through recovery. This includes the judge, the prosecutor, defense attorney, coordinator, case manager, law enforcement official, DOC probation parole agent, behavioral health treatment provider, social services representative, traditional court member, and one of our own nation legislators. The team meets biannually to review and revise policy and procedures as needed. As we go through our different trainings and different things that we attend on a regular basis throughout the year, sometimes there's new things that come up, and we have to make changes then to our manuals, especially our procedures and our handbook. So it's important. That's who we all get together. Matter of fact, in a couple of weeks, we're going to be meeting here to do that review and everything. So you can move on next one. Okay, what we have is our pre-hearing staffing. Okay, like today would be our court date. Okay, we have our pre-hearing staffings at 12:30. We canceled today though because of your circumstances that rise. The judge, basically, the judge is given current, accurate information about each participant who appears at the status hearing. The judge meets with the Healing Wellness Court team prior to each hearing. Compliance program requirements, they meet with those, even minimal compliance participants in early phases. We acknowledge them with an incentive. Like I said, we're trying to be more non-adversarial and trying to really promote, do something good is to recognize that. If they haven't been compliant, the team will make recommendations to the judge regarding proposed sanction or therapeutic adjustment. And that's important because we don't really like it. We're not a punitive court. We don't like to really, make judgments on people and say, oh yeah, throw them in jail or send them back to jail or whatever. We don't do that. We're trying to help them, with their problems and trying to show them how to deal with those problems in a more better way in handling it. Because a lot of times, they've been so used to just having the book thrown at them, throw them in jail. That's what their life has been like in the past. So we try to change all that, especially with this therapeutic adjustment. And like we said, we're just trying to make it more easier for them to get in through the program and what they're doing. And if you do good, like I said, we'd like to recognize that the compliance, what they've been doing, and your incentives can vary. That can be from something small to it's really good. They did something real good. Your gift. Okay. Our status review hearing. This is conducted on Wednesdays from 1:30 to 2:30. Status review hearing, the judge as well as the team, an opportunity to interact with the participants and monitor how they're complying with individualized treatment plan and case management. They're held in the Ho-Chunk Nation traditional courtroom. And this is a non-traditional courtroom arrangement. It's in our courthouse, we have what we call, like I said, the traditional courtroom. It's kind of like a cylindrical type of setting. There's chairs around there. I should have threw in a picture. And it's and like I said, it serves as a forum for the judge to interact and the dialogue with each participant in a non-adversarial way. The judge doesn't even wear a robe, but always make sure that due process is followed. The courtroom rules are followed. So those things always in place. And sometimes during this, prior to doing this, sometimes we do what we call like a smudging, and we smudge courtroom, and also each person we walk around and they want to have some of that smoke, or sage, and the person can smudge themselves off as to take away any negative things, negative forms that could be there. Try to take those away. That's what this smudging is for. And like I said, that's what our court is. Sometimes participant may be not doing what the rules require and just not doing what they're supposed to be doing. So then we do a formal termination hearing, and or we do a graduation too, and a good thing when you graduate. And when we do these things, they're held in the regular courtroom, one of the regular courtrooms. It's a big deal for us. Graduation ceremony. It's really good. We've helped this person transform from what they were when they were arrested into a law-abiding citizen. It's really, to see that transformation is just unreal. It's really good. You can see before and after pictures, and it's just incredible. That's what I do this job for, to see that transformation. It's really good to see that how they've accomplished it. But a lot of times during this time, when they do graduate, sometimes they're reunified with their children, and then their children attend the graduation. So it serves a lot of things there when they do graduate. It serves many things. Terminations, like I said, they follow the rules. They terminate the program. When a person gets terminated from our program, they were originally court ordered to come to our program, so we send them back to send the court order back to the circuit court where they were arrested, and then they go through the court proceedings there, and they might have to end up going to jail, serving their time. But the graduation, they could also have their arrest record expunged, charges expunged. We had one individual that was actually, if he didn't complete the program, he was going to go and serve 8 years in prison. So when he graduated, he did really well, and the court expunged his, put a stay on his sentence, so he didn't have to go to jail, he didn't have to go to prison at all. And today, he's doing really well. He's just a law-abiding citizen and doing very well. One thing our court did that was, or I should say our legislature, I attended an area meeting in Wisconsin Dells last, I think it was January of 2025. And at that meeting, we had a Ho-Chunk, what should say Ho-Chunk, he was a Winnebago tribal member from Nebraska. And I knew him personally, and I was related to him. And I was trying to get him into our program, but because of the way our eligibility criteria was, he wasn't eligible to come to our program because he wasn't from Ho-Chunk Nation. And anyways, about 2 weeks after I met him, talked, he died of an overdose. And I explained this to them at this meeting. And I said, it's got to change. We have to change this. So our Ho-Chunk Nation legislature on February 18, 2025, they enacted a quick passage procedure to amend the Healing Wellness Court Code. This amendment changed the eligibility criteria of our court. It now reads, to be eligible for our program, it has to be a Ho-Chunk tribe member, spouse of a Ho-Chunk tribe member, or birth of a child of a Ho-Chunk tribe member. This is the change, or any member of any other federally recognized tribe to be eligible. Must be 18 years old, reside in the Service County area as identified as Jackson County, Wisconsin, or this is the other change, or any other Wisconsin county in which the wellness court is able to provide adequate supervision and services as determined by wellness court team on a case-by-case basis. Each proposed applicant will be assessed to meet the DSM-5 criteria for alcohol and drug dependence. Our court is also called post-adjudication and or the ATR status from the Department of Corrections, which I mentioned earlier. Must voluntarily agree to abide by Illinois court rules, no existing in-state or external warrants or any charges that are not resolved at the Illinois court participation. They're also ineligible. They're not a Ho-Chunk tribe member or member of any other federally recognized tribe, or misdemeanor, OWI, or traffic offenses, terrorist threats, violent felony convictions, felony sexual assaults, or if a person sent to prison and is no longer eligible for participation. Now with this violent felony conviction is really important because a lot of times there are people that come apply for our program, but we do during our assessments we look and see if they have any. We do a criminal history check on them, and we work with the police department and the FBI to do a thorough search on their criminal history. And if there's any violence in there at all, they're not allowed to come and participate in our program. That's a biggie because we've had to not allow some people to come in because of that. Confidentiality is very important. In-state travel like that. Confidentiality laws is covered by federal law under HIPAA and the federal confidential regulations of 42 CFR Part 2. The Illinois court will not share any personal medical information regarding their substance use treatment without the express written permission. Now, sometimes when we go through, their family or somebody close to them might want to know what they're doing program, and then what we do is we have a form that they fill out their release of information, and if they want to allow that person to, and we have to define it very carefully on what information do you want us to do with them. Should we do this? So we write it all out, make sure exactly what information we give that person. Then we explain it to the participant, and if he agrees to it, we sign it. But the person also has the right to change his mind. He can deny that. Say, no, I don't want to do that anymore. I don't want that person to know. So a lot of times that happens like that. They start out, they want all this help, all these other people, and all of a sudden they say no. But we try to, like I said, really, we follow this very closely. We're very, very close, tightly lipped about our confidentiality, who we share with. And we can't even share with other courts or nothing. So we can't even tell the other courts, well, how's this person doing? So, what person? We don't know. So we try to be that way and try to just let them know that we can't give anything to anybody. So that's what we do with our confidentiality. Okay, this is one thing that people don't really see or understand a lot about is cost savings. Reduced incarceration costs The largest portion of cost savings comes from significantly reducing the use of expensive jail time, prison time. Comprehensive drug court system costs between $2,500 to $4,000 annually per offender, while incarceration can cost anywhere from $20,000 to $50,000 per person per year. So that's a big change. That's a big number. So whatever we spend in our court, that's what we're saving the taxpayers as far as costs. Or citizen is the treatment courts reduced rearrest rates among participants by an average of 35 to 50% compared to traditional case processing. This leads to long-term savings by avoiding costs associated with repeated arrests, trials, and periods of incarceration. So these are just some numbers. There's a lot of other numbers I could throw out there, but overall, treatment courts do save the taxpayers a lot of them. They do. And if they get, arrested again, at least there's ones that have graduated, done that. It really made it's like I said, it's really good that they can do this. Okay. As a conclusion here, this is what one wellness court judge stated. Wellness court can significantly contribute to the ongoing nation-building process of the indigenous tribal government. Each Native nation is only strong as its people. Wellness courts can put court involved systems, using individuals, their families on a path to healing and wellness. Each Native nation must define the nature of this healing journey. The path to be taken should reflect each Native nation's culture, tradition, and vision. And we follow this by when we have our part of their requirements in our program is that they must attend support meetings. Call it just a supportive meeting. Traditionally, what they call it before in the past was AA or NA. They can still go to those, the NA or AA meetings. But we also say there's other things too. There's other programs out there that have these different setups like that. And they can find one and attend that program. And we also include tribal ceremonies. So if they want to go to a tribal ceremony and the leader of that ceremony can sign off with them, say, yeah, this person attended. And we count that as support. So that also could be included. So we really try to push that too. So if they can attend any type of cultural ceremony, we make sure that they go. And I said, because it helps to regain their identity, it helps them know where they belong. That's a big factor. That really helps them too on their own personal journey. It kind of reconnects them with their relatives and to kind of understand what they have been missing. Help them regain that, like I said, their identity. That's good. I've seen this happen many times where they've really changed their way of thinking and maybe what they were told in the past. And it really helps them a lot. Okay, there's a lot more to this. I covered this as brief as possible. But I kind of want to give some ideas on what we do. So does anybody have any questions? Any questions? I see one of my associates is on here. Yeah, she's works in Sauk County. She's case manager. I worked with her, and it's really good to see that she's on here. Like I mentioned before, I do work with other courts, and Sauk County adult treatment court. I've worked with them for a while. Since I've been in this program. And like I said, having connections with these other courts is really important. Working with them because I try to educate them on just what I've been talking about here, about our program, what we do. Because it's really important to connect with this collaboration that we have with these other courts. It's very, very important to have this collaboration. It's just such a good thing to see that we can do this. And like I said, not only Sauk County, I work with a lot of these counties around surrounding counties. I try to visit them to have time to attend their graduations, if possible, or even just a work session. Or if they have any cultural questions, maybe they have a tribal member, indigenous person in their program, they might have some questions, and we're there to answer the questions sometimes. So it is good to have these connections with these other boards. It's works out very well. And like I mentioned before, that I work with the state level with the Wisconsin Association of Treatment Court Professionals, actually a board member. And so that gives me a chance to be more of an advocate for Native Americans and other courts. And so everybody can get treated fairly and they get the treatment, like I say, versus incarceration. And there have been sometimes over the years that I've seen where Native Indigenous people weren't even offered these programs. They weren't even offered this chance through a program. So that's what I've done too, is to help these other jurisdictions to understand and help these their indigenous people that may be incarcerated in our court or jails. I know I've been going on here and been talking about important things now. So if you got any questions, let me know. We also, with our program here at the Ho-Chunk Nation, on the Ho-Chunk Nation website, they do have, if you click on that website, you scroll down under government, and under government, you'll see the executive side of things, then there's the legislative branch, there's also the judiciary branch. And under the judiciary, we have, you'll see Healing and Wellness Court. So you have a link on there, Ho-Chunk Nation website. So if you want to get any information about our program or anything, just click on that and you can find out more information about our program. Any other questions? Anything? I really, like I said,
I have a question for you, Robert.
Sure.
I know that you talked in depth about your program and you said that there's so much more to it. Sometimes tribal members take longer than the 45 days. But my question is, what does success look like to you for your program when a tribal member comes in and they're first starting out?
Well, I always view a tribal member when just starting out, like I said, they're kind of lost, disorientated, don't really know where they belong. A lot of times people have given up on them and they have no place to turn to. Their family sometimes have, treat them as outcasts and don't want nothing to do with them. So it takes a time for them to kind of, like I say, regain their identity, slowly rebuild those connections. And like I said, with their family, reunification is so important. One thing here, like I said, with the Ho-Chunk Nation Behavioral Health, they've been really helpful, and they've been helping with through the whole process. They've done a very, very good job helping with this situation like this and to get them to understand better how they can rebuild that. It's just like I said, it's really difficult sometimes because, like I say, when they come into the program, they're lost. We don't know what they want. Like today, the person I talked to this morning, he didn't know. I asked him about his family, and he said he didn't have nobody there. Nobody wanted to help him no more. They got tired of helping him. And I said, well, we'll help him. So, don't worry about that. So that, like I said, they start out like that. It takes a lot of work. The 5 phases that I mentioned, sometimes it takes them a long time to get through all those phases. So they have a lot of things to rebuild, and rebuilding those bridges, helping them get back on track and trying to live more of a healthy, law-abiding life. So they're so used to things being out of disorder, and to try to keep them to some orderly type of life they can live. That takes a while. Are there any other questions?
What inspires you to do your work?
What inspires me to do my work? Okay. I guess kind of mentioned, I touched on that a little earlier. What inspires me is that transformation. Like I said, I've seen people at their worst. I've seen them when I met them in jail. I've seen them when they just look horrible because of their drug use and whatnot. It's really deteriorated their health. And but to help them go through this program, I seen, like I said, just this one young woman came into our program. She looked horrible. But when she graduated, 18 months later, she graduated. Yeah, she was just stunningly beautiful. I didn't even recognize her at the before and after pictures. She was just, there was such a transition, and that's what really makes me feel good to see that transition. Plus, not only that, I do it mainly because too is that's part of our traditions, part of our culture. My clan responsibilities is to help our people, and that's one thing that I don't take lightly. I try to make sure that I help tribal members with everything, anything that I can do to help them. That's what drives me to do this. Because of some of this, I didn't, being recognized for some of this work that I've done, and that's fine too. But if I don't do it for any type of recognition, I do it because really help our people, and not just our people. Now the laws change, help other indigenous people, helping them too. So that's what really drives me to this thing, and to share all this information with everyone is good too. That I do that too. I've spoken at state conferences, at national conferences, so I is fairly well known. So like I said, trying to get the word out there to people all around the country is really important to share ideas and share things. So like I said, just sharing things with others is really important to me. Any other questions?
Do you have any proudest accomplishments?
My proudest accomplishment. Boy, there's so many actually. But I guess the proudest one I had, like I said, was having this one individual that was facing years in prison to get his sentence stayed, so he didn't have to go to jail and graduated. I think that was one of the biggest ones, because he was facing prison time and worked hard to change his life. And that really, when he graduated, that was really something. And when we celebrate a graduation, it's not just, we make a big deal about it. And it's just not pizza, soft drinks, or nothing like that. Usually when we do a graduation, we put on a big feed. We have all kinds of food. We have a regular dinner. And we had that one that graduated, and her mother catered a steak dinner. And I know it was prime rib, a prime rib dinner. And oh my gosh, that was so delicious. It was good. And that's where, like I said, what the thanks that we get too. I'm just doing my job, and to people to thank you for helping save a life. That's what I look at when I mentioned about costs. How much cost is this, that? To me, I don't look at cost. I look at, what price do you put on a human being's life? We're saving a person's life. That's the way I look at it. Save a person's life, I don't care what it costs. You can't put a price on it. And, so that's what I look at it too. It's what we can do to help people. I guess one of my other big moments, I guess, is that I received awards. But I think one of my biggest awards was being recognized by my colleagues in the state. And they gave me a recognition last year for, they gave me what you call it, the Hero Award for state conference. And that meant a lot to me. That was good. And colleagues from other courts that made me receive this award. So like I said, to me, that was a big moment for me too, even by our legislature to be honored in some different awards too. So like I said, I don't do this for recognition. This is something I really do out of heart. It has to come from within here, inside your heart. You have to really have that drive and to do this. And it takes a lot of work, a lot of commitment on a person. Any other questions?
Robert, you talk about, putting all of your heart into helping our community members. What do you do for yourself to keep you motivated, to keep you healthy, to continue on this amazing work?
To me, I attend a lot of our cultural ceremonies, and I go to these cultural ceremonies. We have what we call traditional feasts, and also some other things that we do. And a lot of times I'm called upon to be there to do things there at these different ceremonies. And when I'm there, I'll put my whole mind and thought into what it's about. And to me, what I receive from that is all these good things that come to me. When I say good things that come to me, I'm talking about, just the sharing all the maybe good food, times, good talks with others, but self-care, like I said, is difficult sometimes because I try to do a lot for myself, and sometimes I don't have a lot of time for myself. So I try to do what little I can. I tell you, one thing really helps me is I spend time with family and my kids, my grandkids. To me, that I spend time with them. That really, I look at them and see how their lives are and what I can do to help them too as well. And I go and do different things once in a while. Maybe go to a sporting event or something, not too often, but once in a while. But my biggest thing I like to do too is sometimes I just like to go and jump in the car hard, go for a ride. Sometimes we go pretty far with the schools, as they want to. And that could be anywhere. Could be driving all day. The other weekend, way down to Iowa. It's a nice drive to see the football game. I had a really nice time. It was really good. It was just a nice ride. Just enjoyed the company. We just had a good time. And those what I do for myself, for self-care. Any other questions? If not, I know maybe I went past my time here, but really enjoyed sharing some of what we have. Like I said, there's a lot more to this. Like I said, later on, I'm going to have, like I said, I'm going to start doing some different things in our tribal paper. Getting in the first of the year, start not just myself. I'm going to have all our team members to submit something to this. Thank you, Lan. I'd like to comment.
Well, Pinagigi, thank you. Oh, sorry, do you have more to add?
No. I just enjoyed being here. Educate everybody a little bit about the program. I'd like to do more if I could sometime in the future.
We'd love to have you back again. Well, thank you everybody for joining us. Jamie did put both of our email addresses in the chat. So if you would like the link to the recurring session, please let us know. I will get Robert's slides out to everybody. I hope you have the time to join us next week, November 12th. Rita Kingswan will be joining us to talk about Ho-Chunk cultural awareness. We also would love to hear from you. If you have a moment to take our short feedback survey, we would like to know how this session went and if there are any recommendations that you would like to hear about next time. So thank you everyone and have a great rest of your day.
Thank you, Ronell.
Thanks again, Robert.
Okay, there, Trina.
Talk to you later.
Okay, see
Can
you.
I just end this and the recording will go to you guys? Or do I have to do something?
Yes.
Yep. Thanks, Mace.
Yeah.
Thank you.